Well, disgraced Prince Andrew will reportedly appear next to the Queen at one of the most important royal ceremonies in the calendar, the Garter Day at Windsor Castle in June. Of course, it's the Queen's decision, but it won't be a popular one. In April 2021, Andrew shocked us all by giving an interview to the press before his father's funeral, despite being accused of sexual assault. In March, he took centre stage by walking the Queen into Westminster Abbey for Philip's memorial service. And next week, he's set to step in the spotlight again when he appears in his Garter robe. So is Prince Andrew trying to weasel his way back into the royal family in public? I'm joined by the royal editor of Vanity Fair, Katie Nicholl, and royal author and British socialite lady Colin Campbell. Welcome to both of you. Katie, this does great with me, I have to say. I think if you're going to pay a woman a rumoured $11 million to make a sex abuse case go away, having said you're going to fight it all the way to clear your name, and then you just cave.
Yeah.
I don't think you're entitled to just slither back into public life in a few months.
I agree with you. I think it's time for him to go away, actually, in the same way that that settlement just sort of struck it all out. The dignified and actually the respectful thing to do for the Queen and for the royal family is to bow out gracefully as he possibly can. This has been a spectacular fall from Andrew. He doesn't have his title, doesn't have his honorary titles, doesn't represent the Queen, doesn't carry out official duties. I think it's very difficult then to reconcile seeing him on a public stage. I know these events essentially can be seen as private events. The Garter is privately bestowed. It's the highest honour the Queen can give, OK? Yeah. And this is an important one because let's not forget she's investing Camilla into
and Tony Blair, I think.
So,
yeah.
OK, less on that, but more importantly on Camilla. This is once again going to detract from all of this. And I think that just a lot of people will be sitting and watching and thinking, why? And I know from the American audience that I write for, every time the Queen is seen with Andrew, it troubles them.
It does. Well, also, they also think, quite rightly, that I'll come to Lady Colin Campbell now. First of all, good evening to you. Thank you for joining the show. I do think that, for example, we give, Meghan and Harry a hard time, I think justifiably in most cases. But what they've done, to be honest, pales into insignificance, in my opinion, to a senior member of the royal family paying millions of dollars to make a sex abuse case go away. But you don't share this view. You think he should be able to come back?
I certainly don't share this view. First of all, my information was that it's 5 figures was the settlement, and also each party had to pay its own costs and expenses. I know the press keeps on going on and on, banging the drum about several £1 million and $1 million. I don't know where they got it from, because the settlement was supposed to be confidential. So,
well, if it's confidential, how do you know it's not? It's not
believable as your 10 or 20 figures.
Well, how do you know? How do you know it's not if it's confidential?
Well, my point is, how do you know that it's $11 million?
Well, no, it's been reported. It's been reported from very good sources. It was $11 million. If you're saying it was a much smaller sum, I'm just curious how you know.
It's not been reported from very good sources. I was told that from very good sources that it was a 5-figure sum.
That's not true. I can tell you, I know categorically that's not true.
Well, you mean you know categorically that
I know 100% that what you've just said is not true. It's not a 5-figure settlement. I know that for a fact.
Well, I know categorically that's what I was told, and I believe my sources rather more than yours.
OK, well, you don't know who my source is, but if you did, you wouldn't say that. But look, let's move on to the wider point. Whether it's 5 figures...
Know who my sources either, with due respect.
Look, whether it's 5 figures or millions or whatever it finally was, he settled a case having said he was going to fight it to clear his name. And I think if you do that as a senior member of the royal family, you should not be allowed to continue in public life.
Utter rubbish, Piers. With due respect, I mean, since when was this a country where you are guilty until proven innocent? This may play very well in the court of popular condemnation, but the reality is, in this country, as in all civilized countries, you are innocent until you are proven guilty.
Why didn't he clear his name? He kept saying, I'm going to clear my name. Why didn't he clear his name? Why didn't he get a call?
Why didn't she? She kept on saying that she would never settle, that she wanted her day in court. She is an admitted procuress, prostitute,
No,
perjurer.
you're making allegations
And
now
you
which are
expect-
unsubstantiated, and I have to make that on the record.
I'm sorry, they
Well,
are.
they are
excuse me,
unsubstantiated
they are
allegations,
substantiated.
and nothing that you're saying to.
She has admitted it.
Nothing you're
She
saying
has
to
admitted
attack.
it.
Nothing you're
She
saying.
has admitted it.
Nothing you're saying to attack the accuser, Lady Colin, will change the fact that Prince Andrew, who's nearly 30 years her senior, that he publicly declared just a few months before the settlement, I will not settle this case. I will have my day in court. I will clear my name. And then he settled with a big check.
And she did the same thing, and she settled.
He's a senior
She
member of
did
the royal
same
family.
thing, and she
He
settled.
was the one accused of sexual assault of in America, a minor. And he settled that case without clearing his name.
She was
you
not
say
a
he's
minor.
innocent.
She
How do we
was
know he's
not
innocent?
a minor for sexual purposes in either England or the United States of America, the states that were concerned. She was over the age of consent. You know, Piers, really,
That's not
you're
true
chatting
either. I'm
rubbish
sorry, that's
with due
actually not
respect.
true. She was under the age of
What
lawful.
is not true?
She was considered a legal minor in at least one of the American locations where the sex was alleged to have happened. But my point is, you say Andrew was innocent.
That's not so.
That is so, actually.
The state that... It's not so, because the state of New York is 16 years old or 17, and in England it is over. She was 17 years old, so I'm sorry, that's absolute rubbish.
No, it's not rubbish.
She was over the age of sexual
I don't think you understand
in both
You
territories.
don't understand the law of consent, age of consent in American states. It's fine. Let's come back to you on this. I mean, look, emotions run high about this kind of thing. And the bottom line for me is that Andrew decided to settle it, Katie. So when someone settles it and doesn't have their day in court, having promised to me, it's like, well, you're not even proving you're innocent.
No, it's
You've just
cop-out.
paid off the case.
No, absolutely. But I think also, you know, if I can just move the conversation on a little bit from this, there is an underlying issue here. And I think what this exposes is that difficult situation that the Queen is in as monarch and as a mother.
I agree.
Now, I remember I was told by a very close source to the Queen that she had challenged Andrew, asked him if he was innocent, and he told her repeatedly that he was. Now, she clearly believes him.
Yeah.
And and as Lady C says, in fairness, innocent until proven guilty.
We don't know he's guilty.
Absolutely.
We just know he didn't go and have his day in court.
Absolutely. But putting that aside, the problem is, I go back to this, is the optics. And for someone who has settled out of court and all the sort of murky image of that, really at a time when we're wanting to see the royal family united and at its best and
Totally
behind
agree.
the Queen, do we need Andrew tagging along? As I say, the graceful thing would have been to exit quietly. He's not serving any purpose other than to detract and make headlines, in my opinion, for all the wrong reasons.
And also on the Garter Day, being seen as a royal knight in all the regalia. Really?
Well, I think
that day honours chivalry.
Yes.
I mean, are we really going to be having Andrew parading
problem.
around in his gown, honouring chivalry, wearing this kind of clothes?
No, this is the problem.
Right, when he's just settled a sex abuse case. Anyway, look, got to leave it there. Katie, thank you. Lady Colin, thank you. Feisty as always. Appreciate you joining me.